Yeah, I'm waiting for the phone to show I'm actually live because I've noticed a lot of times when I do the intro at this point, uh, it doesn't show up on the actual screen. I've never went back and downloaded one after to watch it after to see if this part actually does come through in a download or not. There I am. I actually have sound. My buntag, my hapon, my gabi, no matter where you are in the world. Welcome to today's live stream. As you can see from my initial comment, I am not feeling terribly well today. Yesterday, Cindy was really sick. Uh, Kind of a cold. There's absolutely no fever whatsoever. There is some congestion in general body aches, nothing more than that. Uh, and even China has some bad congestion, and it's just been really grumpy mood the last couple days. Uh, so I'm thinking we may have caught something. Matter of fact, I can hear her downstairs, and that's part of the reason why I do want to keep today's down to about 30 minutes. Is just help Cindy as much as I can with that. Uh, China got her passport. That is got her Philippines passport. So that is a huge step in the right direction on that one. And we're hoping the U.S. passport comes as expected on time, which should put it between I misquote. Should put it between the 7th and 21st of March if it comes back in the 6 to 8 week time range. And so we're going to start exploring the options of buying tickets to go back. Yeah, somebody sounded like they were having a meltdown down there. Going back between the 28th of March and the 8th of April. Right now, we have tried repeatedly to get a hold of PAL, but we have found out two pieces of information. One, they're not answering any kind of phones or emails. And two, they no longer have Cebu LA direct flight. They go through Manila now. If we can get PAL to honor the vouchers, even going through Manila, we'll probably go, because at that point we're going to be transiting through. So I don't think we're going to fall under the no vax, no ride policy. But if we can get them to honor, we'll make that determination at that point. Otherwise, if we can't get them to honor them by like the 15th of February, if we can't get them to honor them by like the 15th of 14th, 15th of February, we'll start looking at booking other tickets on another airline. And the advantage of doing that is we can book tickets, may still go through Manila, but you check your baggage here in Cebu and you pick it up in Phoenix. The drawback to the PAL nonstop is, granted, you're going through customs, so you're going to have to touch the bags anyhow. But in this particular case, instead of just touching them, showing them, and re-putting them back in the queue to be checked, you've got to take them and recheck in. And so we'd have to pick up a separate set of tickets from LA to Phoenix. So there's some pros, cons, both directions. That we did get Chana a doctor's appointment. The 30th was supposed to be her 3-month checkup. And with her not feeling well and everything else going on, the congestion, that she called and tried to get hold of the doctor. And I guess the Les Medical Arts Building, there we go. Again, that name stuff that just escapes me. We've been going there for almost a year. Well, almost a year now. And it still escapes me. But I guess the Les Medical Arts Building is a no vax, no entry policy. Not entirely sure if it's because it's in Cebu or if it's their policy as well. But the doctor did say, to show him, to just let him know that you are, that because you just gave birth, you're not advised to get the vaccine yet. So she's got the text message that was sent back. And so that way she can show it to the guard and let them in, and may allow them to get in, probably not me, which I'm not in love with, but at this point I can kind of deal with. And the silliness is even Manila is talking about backing down to quarantine level 2, and the cases are falling off, the recoveries are skyrocketing, that the Omicron was just a panic, and that they realize that now. And I'm hoping this stuff slowly starts going by the wayside. One of the other subscribers that comes on here frequently has made comment that he's not even going to try until all this silliness goes away completely, that he's just given up. And after this last setback, I don't necessarily blame him. This was a huge panic over absolutely nothing. And even the authorities, the international authorities, were saying it's basically nothing. So it wound up being just exactly that, panic. And so I don't know. We have started, yesterday I pulled out all the Christmas decorations, boxed them up and getting them ready to go. That we're going to run them down to Cebu here in the next week or two. Probably going to wait until after the first of the month, hoping that the no vax, no ride policies fall by the wayside. Outside of Cebu City, Cebu Province, hey there, Daniel. How you doing today? At this point, I guess I'm talking to you. That outside of Cebu City, Cebu Province never did institute the no vax, no ride policy, but there were places that set up their own individual policy, that they didn't do it as a government thing, but some of the places, the individual businesses did. And that was a huge issue, problem, that that's part of the reason my mom and papa are getting the vaccine. That and they got to go to Manila, and so they don't want to get stuck in Manila. And because of his age, the doctors down there are recommending that they get Pfizer, so that they've got to wait until they get a Pfizer shipment in. My young be Jojo, how you doing today? That most everybody here is not feeling terribly well. That in Manila, I was a little bit had really bad drainage, nasal drainage, and I was blaming him. And uh, we got back and it cleared up for a couple days. And now, yesterday and then today, it just got freaking horrible. Yeah, quite probably. That I'm not sure when I'll do the live streams back there because they come in the evenings back there, and I'm not sure when would be a great time to do them. And then on top of it, we're going to have other life issues that we're going to have to work with back there as well. Cindy has a driver's license in the U.S. U.S. drivers are insane Michael Schumacher wannabes. And if she lives fairly close, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem. But if winds up going across valley or something like that, I would encourage her to let me drive her in and out. Drive her in and pick her up. Because of that, she's actually going to try and look into seeing whether or not she can do remote work periodic. Do like 2 or 3 days a week remote work. And then on top of it, it would really help when we come back to the Philippines if she has a track record of doing remote work and allowing her to come back, take 2 weeks, take a week, come out, get set up, do a couple of weeks, do a month worth of work here remotely, take a week off, go back and report into work regularly. Whether or not they would allow that or would be able to be done, I don't know. But yeah, there's going to be some logistics issues that we're also going to have to deal with. Yeah, that's one other thing too. Is my smoke, when I get sick, the weight goes through the roof. I don't know why. Because that's actually the worst possible time to be a smoker. I may do it so that it's afternoon, evening for people that watch here. And that's the other thing I'll need to do is go back and check the analytics and see how many people are watching from where and see what might be the best compromise for everybody. But yeah, doing it 9 a.m., especially if I have to give her a ride in, wouldn't be possible because that'd be the time that I need to drop her off and then come back. Doing a 5, 6 in the evening, again, if I was doing picking her up, that wouldn't be possible either. So, but we may have to come up with a workaround for that would work best for everybody involved. But yeah, that Pal, for whatever infinite wisdom, that they stopped doing. Yes, she is. That if for no other reason, and that's one drawback to the U.S. over Canada. We have to have medical insurance. Without it, you don't get treated. Period in the state. That you can do public care and stuff like that, but it's a nightmare to get done. Especially if you're of working age and yada yada yada, it can be a huge issue. So yeah, she's almost certainly going to go back to work, and then also to try and rebuild a decent nest egg to move back here with. Now, Jojo, you're talking about 6 a.m. Phoenix time. That might not work out too badly because, because that'd be like 9 a.m. your time. And it'd be like 9 p.m. here. So that may not be too bad thing to do. Uh, and during the summer, that's about the only time you can walk. And she actually enjoys jogging, so that may be something to do. Uh, she's an MBA, and she's an accountant. She has her MBA in accounting. There's been a couple of major firms back in the U.S. that she has friends that work at that have said, you get back in the States and you got a job. That they need people with her background and credentials. She worked for a payroll processing company in the U.S. for a while, about 4 years. And through some low-level office politics that she wound up being the fallout of, she wound up ditching that. Then she went to work for a healthcare provider, and that one was just kind of a fiasco from the get-go. It was a small company. It wasn't a bad company. It just horrible management. That they had a really hard time keeping personnel, especially office personnel. She can do income tax. She understands it a little bit, but does not know the income tax laws in the U.S. well enough to do it for people. It was originally our goal plans last year for her and I to go back right after Synalog at the end of January, beginning of February, have her sit through the H&R Block classes and do taxes for H&R Block until April and then come back. Well, she actually had a fairly decent job doing year-end processing here at that point, so we decided not to. And then we found out she was pregnant and decided not to for financial reasons. We just didn't have the healthcare insurance and all that. And, to go back for a couple months would have put it early on in a pregnancy when it was really important to get the prenatal checkups. So, although kind of in hindsight with the paperwork we're going through, it might have been a little bit better to do it back there, do the birth back there. The difference between natural born and native born Filipino is extremely minor. And I don't think there is any real difference between the two. When she goes back, she's actually talking about doing that on the side. Going through and getting her tax preparer certifications, so that way during tax season, she could make some phenomenal extra side money and do stuff like that. Yeah, you and Daniel, that is one advantage to the socialized medicine. You know, I'm not going to disagree with that at all. But you've made comments, and so has Daniel, that socialized medicine is not the end all answer either. And there needs to be definitely a better answer than is in the U.S. I do not disagree with that. The U.S. system is horribly broken for a multitude of reasons. But, you know, I've heard of people, that, especially in Canada, that they need procedures, and for whatever reason, the healthcare people just say, nope, you're not getting them. Or it's going to be 6 months for you to get a heart bypass, and Well, the doctor only gives you 3 months to live if you don't get one. So, it sucks to be you. Uh, and that might be something that she'll actually look into uh, doing. It is because of my 13A, I have to be here sometime in January, February to do my annual reporting. Probably going to do it here in the next week or two. But and that's also the prime tax season. And so she's kind of looking at doing just exactly that, getting the U.S. tax preparer certification, and then coming over here, spending 30, 60 days, or even 90 days at that time of the year, just take a leave of absence from work. Uh, and just do income taxes here while she's here. Because last year the IRS changed some rules dramatically about filing taxes overseas. And so we're hoping to get back, and that was a big part of the reason for us wanting to be back, is we want to be back in Arizona before we had to file taxes. So we would file taxes in the U.S. I'm not sure I understand the free 1 month or 5,000 private 3 months. David, do you mind expanding on that? That one I'm kind of curious about because I like I say that, and I'm certain that these are rare horror stories. But yeah, I've heard some really bad horror stories about you know uh, unusual circumstances with socialized medicine, and a lot of it is the same thing with anything. My reasoning for not doing this vaccine, and I'm certain because there are millions of people that have gotten it without a problem, but I've heard some true horror stories about the vaccine. But by the same token, any medical procedure you get, there's a risk. 15 years ago or so, my nephew was in college, uh, had two wisdom teeth removed, and within 48 hours was almost dead. That he was in emergency care or he was in the ICU, the intensive care unit, for almost 30 days, and he flatlined a couple times. And it was just, he got an infection that they went dry socket, and the infection went systemic. It went through his entire body within a day or so, and it almost killed him. But I know hundreds of people that have had their wisdom teeth removed without a problem. I've got another friend that his adult daughter went in and had I don't know what she had, but they gave her some medication. It was a painkiller. And, it was one of these 1 in 10 million side effects that it went through and just wreaked havoc with her nervous system. And within a week of taking it, her entire body was just on fire. And, it was just a one off, like I say, 1 in 10 million side effect. It does happen. Unfortunately, with the vaccines, I've heard these side effects are a little bit more common than that. And I just don't want to take a chance. The COVID is not that dramatic of a disease. Uh, like I say, I've had COVID. And I am an overweight, out of shape, heavy smoker and recovered from it. Oh, you do have an option for private insurance in New Zealand? Okay, okay, that I did not understand. And I can kind of see that and that may not be a bad workaround to compromise the two situations. But in the U.S., and I'm kind of surprised there's not some blowback from it in the New Zealand, that they'll talk about the elitist and all that good stuff. But hey, it was definitely good having you here today, and I'm actually going to get going here before too long. Anyhow, that I said I was going to keep it down to about 30 minutes, and I'm coming up on that mark. Uh, we got to get Shauna ready for her doctor's appointment today. Then we're going to figure out what's going on. Uh, in Philippine experience, that John, that is a distinct possibility. We may only be hearing uh, a small part of this of what's going on, and this is very much a media-driven circumstance. It is no longer a health issue. I believe one of them actually got pulled because they had so many different problems with blood clotting. This was probably 20, 25 years ago. It was quite a while ago. And I think I brought this up before. I've got between smoking and allergies and just life in Arizona, Phoenix in particular. I've got horrible allergy issues and horrible sinus issues. Uh, I the doctor gave me some of the stuff called Banex, Banex. Look it up. It was friggin' outstanding. It worked great. I loved the stuff. Every once in a while, you kind of feel like you were speed freaking on it, and I just chalked it up and okay, whatever. And I guess that it did have a side effect a little bit too common about causing heart palpitations and I want to get pulled from the market. And I asked her to tell me, give me the paperwork. I'll sign off on it. I'm good with it. Just give me the stuff. That it worked best and it continued working. Because a lot of this stuff that I've tried over the years, I've had sinus issues ever since I was a little kid. Long before I started smoking even. I grew up in a house surrounded by smokers. So, I've had secondhand smoke since before birth. But this is one of the few things that worked for a long time. The other stuff I've tried will work 3-6 months, and you have to find something else for 6-8 months, and find something else, and after about a year, you can go back to the first stuff, and it might work or might not work. Okay, you've got the allergies, welding and cigarette smoke. I've got allergies, concrete dust and cement and all that, diesel fumes and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, my nose is pretty much gone. It just filed for separation a few years back and just said, no, I'm done. Bye. My sense of smell is almost gone to begin with. So, it's got to be a pretty strong odor before I can do it. But back in the day, that was pretty common. Matter of fact, back in the day when I was a little kid, I get ear infections. And that was something the doctor recommended, is to blow cigarette smoke into your ear, the ear that was infected. And they thought it would help kill the infection. Who knew? But yeah, I'm so glad no one ever questioned science so that things like that continue on to this day. I'm sorry, I had to get that little dig into the current state of affairs. Uh, but it was with a doctor recommended Bel Air Lights that my mother did this. So. Uh, yeah, that medical science, stretches and grows, and now, Jojo, you got me on that one. I've never heard of urine in the ear. That one is beyond me. That my grandmother, my mother's mother, was huge into these old timey wives' remedies, and yeah, that one escapes me even. Uh, and the thing is a lot of these there has to be some legitimacy to them, or they wouldn't be continued to be done. And so I don't know that I want to try it, but I could see people doing something like that. And with the stuff that's in urine, yeah, I could picture that it might sting and probably stink to high heaven, but maybe. But just hope you didn't have a bladder infection while you were doing it. That my grandmother, she had a horrible heart condition, and probably had it all of her life. She had a hole in her heart and a leaky valve, and it just never got fixed. Uh, but she always did a shot of peach brandy at night, around 5, 6 o'clock at night, just a little bit after dinner. Did a shot of peach brandy. My sister was helping her look for some peach brandy one time, and they couldn't find it. And my sister got some blackberry brandy and said, "Here, why don't you try this?" She said, "My intestines are just fine. I need peach brandy for my heart." And so I really, really wish that somebody would have been able to sit down with her and dig out some of those old wise remedies and what some of that stuff was for. She was a huge, huge proponent of burdock root tea, and she'd drink that stuff by a freaking gallon. Uh, what's funny is a lot of that stuff that she would do back in the 60s, 70s, that the naturopaths and even some of the medical science today is admitting, yeah, that's probably not a bad thing. There is some legitimacy to it. And it's like now that they're finally beginning to admit that a small amount of alcohol regularly is actually good for heart problems. Whether or not it would have been good for the leaky valve thing, I don't know, but it's kind of a natural blood thinner. And so, what was funny when she was in the hospital last time before she passed away, the problem was really bad at that point. And my sister and even the doctor kind of admitted this is probably going to be the last time she's in a hospital. But she was all upset because the pharmacy wouldn't let her have her peach brandy. And so my sister, the one that's the nurse, happened to know some people at the hospital she was in, and went and talked to the cardiologist and one of the head nurses, and explained. And the cardiologist finally said, "Hey, if he looked at medicines, there's nothing here that would contraindicate it. There's nothing that it interact with. If nothing else, it buys it a peace of mind." And so he did. He wrote out a prescription for one shot of peach brandy to be administered at such and such a time. 1 ounce of peach brandy to be administered at such and such a time. And so at that time every night, the pharmacy came out with a shot glass, with a little 1 ounce plastic shot glass for her to have her peach brandy. And it bought her a huge peace of mind. And like I say, at this point, they're actually saying, yeah, that's not a bad thing for heart conditions. It's a good blood thinner. That may not actually be a bad thing. Jojo, that the grain alcohol, the moonshine, caramelized sugar, the burnt sugar, and lemon and honey probably would be a really good thing. And unquestionably, like we were just saying, the alcohol will help a lot with your circulation. But it's getting past my 30-minute mark. I desperately need some ibuprofen at this point. The headache is getting uh, almost unbearable. This probably isn't helping in the least. But, and I need to blow my nose horribly. Granny's medicine, Beverly Hillbillies. The off the Waltons, the old pair of sisters that had the medicinal still that they ran. Oh, I can't remember. Baldwin sisters. There we go. The Baldwin sisters and their medicine. Their medicine that Grandpa used to like to get quart jars of every now and then. I've had shots of genuine moonshine before. I couldn't imagine what a quart jar would do to you. That it's like drinking freaking Everclear. It is some. You can literally run cars off of that stuff. But I am going to get going. I've got a 400 milligram ibuprofen with my name, and I can just hear it calling to me. But tomorrow night, we will get out a Chica Chica, giving a little bit more updates of what's going on. Yeah, you're pulling off. Mimi and I had a hard enough time coming up with the Baldwin sisters. I cannot remember the name of those. I used to love the Walton. That was a really cool show. I've actually been on US Highway 1 through that area that they did a couple episodes about. But anyways, I'm going to get going and go visit that ibuprofen for today. Tomorrow, we will give you a better update of what's going on, what the doctor said today, and try to get back into regular posting of videos as well as doing the live streams a couple days a week. But for now, mabuhay from Toe Chip Compound. Emily, I think you're right. I need to go back and find if Amazon or somebody has the Waltons. Enjoy, people.